Starting with Assassin's Creed Shadows, the modern-day storyline is finally evolving, ushering the series into a new era. But with the introduction of a new modern-day segment and Ubisoft's fresh approach toward its narrative, is modern-day finally finding a proper direction, or is this shift just another experiment in a long list of missed opportunities? Let me explain. Assassin's Creed Shadows will feature a modern-day story, but don't expect anything grand. According to Ubisoft Quebec's recent AMA, which I have covered extensively in the video linked above, Shadows is laying the groundwork for a new chapter in the modern-day narrative. But what's different this time? Apparently, instead of a fully fleshed out modern-day segment, it will be more limited, acting as a setup for a broader modern-day story within the Animus Hub. We'll get into that in a moment, but limited modern-day raises some concerns. It could mean anything, from Mirage's blink and you miss it cutscene to Unity's lackluster cinematics. However, Ubisoft's phrasing hints at something bigger, the Animus Hub, something that might just save the modern day aspect of the series forever. But what exactly is the Animus Hub? Previously known as Assassin's Creed codename Infinity, the Animus Hub isn't a separate game. Think of it as a base, an interactive Animus where players can navigate between different games and the modern day narrative. Ubisoft's goal here? To simplify the experience for both newcomers and longtime fans who've sometimes struggled to follow the modern day story's tangled threads. But how will this actually work? Is it just a glorified launcher like Call of Duty HQ, forcing players to download games they don't own? Firstly, the hub won't be a separate game, and secondly, the modern day story will unfold within the hub itself. That suggests something more immersive than a simple menu screen. If executed properly, this could finally give the modern day segments the consistent focus they've lacked for years. This direction could also be key in preventing further confusion around the modern day story from Shadows onward. If the Animus Hub features any gameplay, I imagine it might feel similar to Black Flag's Abstergo sections, or perhaps the lesser known yet surprisingly interesting modern day sequences from Assassin's Creed Nexus. Now, as for Basim, yes, I'm expecting to see him play a major role in this new modern day vision, but I'll discuss his character later. So while Shadows itself might not satisfy die-hard modern day fans, the Animus Hub could hold the key to a revitalized, long-term modern day narrative. But what do the developers think about this series modern day, and how do they plan to fix it? According to Mark Alexis Cote, Ubisoft is taking the modern day storyline more seriously this time around. After experimenting with different approaches across 3 distinct periods, they finally acknowledged what fans have felt for years. The modern day narrative has struggled ever since Assassin's Creed 3, and they're ready to fix it. In Period 1, from Assassin's Creed 1 to Syndicate, modern day segments were mostly playable, giving us Desmond, a protagonist whose story was compelling, mysterious, and often capped off with jaw-dropping cliffhangers. It was an interesting concept at first, but Ubisoft fell into the trap of escalation, constantly raising the stakes with bigger twists, eventually leading to Desmond's death. Even Cote admits this put the series at a creative crossroads, with the modern day struggling to find its footing afterward. After Desmond, Ubisoft tried to recapture the magic but missed the mark. Black Flag made the player the protagonist in modern day segments, an idea that sounded intriguing in theory but proved painfully dull in execution. Wandering the Abstergo halls at a snail's pace just wasn't fun, even if the lore was decent. Then came Unity and Syndicate, where modern day gameplay was stripped away entirely, reduced to a handful of cutscenes. However, both tried replacing the modern day gameplay with time anomalies, which was sadly stripped away in the future entries. Period 2 saw Ubisoft attempt a comeback with Origins, introducing a proper modern day segment and a new protagonist named Layla Hassan. Just as fans began to grow attached to her, Ubisoft killed her off after 3 games in Valhalla, only to keep her alive in a way I'll discuss in a future video dedicated to the modern day storyline, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. But after Layla's departure, Ubisoft had a fresh opportunity, and the seemingly perfect character to reinvigorate the modern day narrative. Basim. Introduced in Valhalla, Basim, an Isu reincarnate, managed to pull himself into the modern day, replacing Layla and hinting at a far more interesting direction. Could we have explored his DNA to witness proper Isu memories? Could Basim have reason as the leader of the modern day assassins? The possibilities were endless, but then Assassin's Creed Mirage, the game about Basim, gave us nothing. Not a single modern day scene, save for a brief dialogue and some cut content unearthed by data miners. That cut content only makes things more frustrating. It teased a massive modern-day time shift, reportedly killing off every current character to make way for new ones. Essentially a soft reboot. Whether this remains part of Ubisoft's long-term plan or was scrapped entirely is unknown. But this inconsistency hasn't just weakened the modern-day storyline, it has alienated fans. Critical character arcs have been buried in novels and comics instead of the games. While hardcore fans might enjoy digging through those mediums, it's a frustrating experience for the majority. If an important character or event is introduced in the games, the rest of their story should continue in the games as well. Expanding the lore elsewhere is fine, but not at the cost of sidelining major events. On top of that, forcing players out of animus for modern-day segments hurt pacing in many of the past games. For some players, those moments broke the immersion rather than enhancing it. So what happens to Basim after Valhalla? For now, we simply don't know. Ubisoft Quebec has confirmed that Basim won't be a part of modern-day story, at least for now. But the way they said it only raises more questions. But they clearly did it to avoid any spoilers. Now, the period 3 begins with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Ubisoft promises this new era will finally give the modern-day storyline the care it deserves, transforming it from a neglected side element into a central part of the player's experience. According to Cote, the goal is to restore the balance that once defined the franchise by creating a meaningful contrast between the past and present. This time, Ubisoft wants the modern day to enhance the historical journey rather than feel like an afterthought. Whether they can deliver on that promise remains to be seen, but for fans of the modern day narrative, there's finally a reason to hope. Now you may wonder why modern day is so critical to the franchise. The modern day storyline has always been one of Assassin's Creed's most polarizing elements. While some fans dismiss it entirely, others see it as essential to the series' identity. At its best, the modern day narrative doesn't just add a sci-fi layer that breathes life into the historical journey. It incorporates conspiracy theories that make this story even more intriguing. Without it, Assassin's Creed risks losing its core identity and becoming something entirely different. By grounding the series in modern day elements, Assassin's Creed gains a sense of purpose, connecting the past and present in a meaningful way while opening the door to deeper themes about the future. This isn't just about lore, it's about making the franchise distinct. According to Mark Alexis Cote, themes like freedom versus control, individuality versus conformity, and the power of knowledge will form the foundation for a new narrative direction starting with Shadows. Ubisoft promises a more cohesive and immersive approach to the modern day, a structured framework ensuring that every new development builds on consistent pillars, avoiding the disjointed visions that have plagued past games. Yet for all its potential, the modern day has consistently fallen short. Ubisoft often teases something groundbreaking only to abandon or dilute it in execution. Part of this failure stems from trying to appeal to everyone, a near impossible task for a franchise with 17 years of history. This inconsistency hasn't just disappointed fans, it's eroded trust in Ubisoft's ability to deliver a compelling modern-day story. If Ubisoft can make the modern day immersive, consistent, and worth investing in, they have a real chance to restore the series' greatness. But if they keep cutting corners, they risk alienating the fans who still believe in its potential. So what are your hopes for the modern day storyline? Do you prefer a proper story and gameplay stretched across multiple games, or would you rather see it removed entirely? Share your thoughts down below.